Angel's House provides a safe, nurturing place for teen girls in crisis. When these girls go into DFACS custody, many of them go there because of abuse, neglect, lack of supervision, and Angel's House provides this warm, safe haven for them, and we're about to go inside to see how Angel's House in our community changes the lives of these young girls in crisis. After 15 years of Angel's House, it was becoming a bit tired looking on the inside. With the help of Bambi Edge and Val Cranford and a lot of volunteers in our community, the house has been redone and has a facelift. Ladies, this place looks amazing. Tell me how you did it and how everybody came together.
Well, we just realized that we needed so much, and it was just going to involve a lot of money, and we just decided to tap into our friends and churches, and all different kinds of groups came together. We have bridge groups, Bible studies, Sunday school classes, exercise groups, neighborhoods, individuals.
You just name it, right? When you think of anybody that you thought would give, right?
Right, exactly.
And we did this in the beginning when we first opened Angel's House. And a lot of the same groups came back and did it again. They were just so gracious and generous with their time and their money. And
now, logistically, Val, tell me how you did it with all the girls. They're here. So how did it happen that you could redo everything? Well,
we had to plan a trip for the girls, and I think they went through a lot of, hard work trying to make sure to get all the, everything signed and
so that they could take a trip,
they could take a trip. And so they went to the mountains and had a wonderful time. It was a little vacation for the house parents and the children. And so we quickly had to get painters in here, paint the rooms, and it was kind of crazy. With painters, we said, okay, we put out bids, and we said, okay, whoever can get this done quickly
at the best price.
Costly, yeah.
Right.
But anyway, and so it worked perfectly, and then that was done, and then the groups came in while the children were at school with all their things. We had like notebooks that gave different groups and said it had a list of needs, and they, just certain things we had to have, but then of course they went over and beyond, by many measures, and it just was more than we could ever have expected.
Bambi, what was it like for those girls when they came in the homes and they saw what all had been redone after they had come home from their trip?
Well, I happened to be, was able to be here during that time, and it really just gives me chills to even think about it now. It was each girl, we took each one individually to their room, to show them, and then they were just squealing and so happy. And what I really loved was that they were so happy for each other. I mean, they were so excited over the hairdryer, the new hairdryer.
Right.
Every little thing, every little pillow.
And as girls, we know they would go, oh, no, but come look at mine. Oh, but let's go look at whatever, our next door neighbor or whatever.
There was a lot of excitement, a lot of tears. Just, they were so appreciative. And so proud of their rooms.
The best Christmas ever.
It was just it will always be one of my favorite days ever.
Well,
to be able to witness that.
Now, since you opened in 2001, you've had over 200 children?
Well, we actually started fundraising in 2001. We actually opened the house in 2004.
Okay.
We've had over 200 children.
Wow. Now, the rules have changed. So initially you were able to have male and female, and you were able to have siblings and that sort of thing. But now the rules have changed. So here there are young ladies from 13 to 18.
Well, we've had to morph Angel's House to, according to the new laws, state laws, and then to find the most need in our community. So at first, when we opened Angel's House, we were licensed for ages 5 through 17, boys and girls. And then a few years after we opened, the state changed the laws and said they did not want children under 12 in group homes such as this. They wanted them more in foster homes. And so then we ended up just having teenagers. And at first we did teenage boys and girls. And that just really did not work.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine, yes. That.
We had a boys' wing and a girls' wing.
Right. Yeah, we had and we have everything on security.
Sleep out here to make
sure. Oh, to make sure that there's no fraternization going back and forth.
Right. And they could figure out how to get around the alarm systems and things like that. So we realized that the most need in Noonan was for teenage girls, and so right now that's who we're serving, and it's been a great thing. And we have our first girl is in college this year.
That is so cool.
Isn't that great? Isn't that just great? She lived here for 3 years.
Wow.
And asked us if we'd please save a room for her.
You know, when
She comes back, I think.
when you think about how Angel's House has made a difference in these children's lives, in these young ladies' lives, because you never know what their home life was like. And, you know, being a foster grandparent, I now have a better appreciation and understanding of what it's like, because having the 4 that we have currently, as foster children in my family with my daughter and her husband, it's amazing, and we only know a little bit of what they've gone through,
Right.
but they sure love having the love and the attention, and despite the fact that children say they don't want rules, they really do want the
Oh,
structure.
they
Yes,
do. They do.
absolutely.
My mother always said children demand discipline. And I do
Yes.
think it's the truth.
Oh, I do, because I know the children that we have in our lives that are foster children now, they do so well, and they're doing well in school, and the loving environment here is phenomenal. You know, and the parents. Tell me about the house parents who we'll also interview. You couldn't do it without them.
Oh, amazing.
And
We have amazing house
we
parents.
always have from the beginning.
Right.
And
We always have, but this particular
This
group
group
is just
is-
really, really,
they love the children like their own.
they truly do. They're parents themselves. The 2 that are here today are getting ready to be grandparents. And they just really do an amazing job. And during that, during the remake and the remodel, spending so much time out here. You know, a lot of times we would end up eating dinner here
Sure,
with them.
sure.
And just the love around the table, the conversation, the giggling, and to know in your heart where these children have come from. And we really don't even have the imaginations for where
Right.
these children have been. We really don't.
No, not true.
And it's just, when I come in here, I feel the love. I feel the love. I feel like it is just a home that's filled with love.
Well, and also, our community is so generous in so many ways. And every year that Angels Run and the Chicken Queue has been held, every year it continues to surpass the amount from years before. Now, you don't get any government funding here, do you?
We do.
Or do you?
We get
okay.
a per diem per day per child.
Now, I should know that because of TFAC's, the situation
And
that our
depending
family's
on the
in.
level of the child, it depends on the per diem rate.
But that in no way covers the cost of a home this way. Heavens no.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Our budget, we have to raise between $60,000 and $75,000 a year, in addition
To cover the cost.
to keep Angel's House running, and we totally depend on our community.
Think about how tired the place looked after this many years
Oh, my goodness.
before the remodel.
Well, there were holes
I mean,
in the
imagine
walls.
200 children, you know.
in
and
any home.
In any, I was going to say, I mean,
Think
any
of your own
home.
home with 3 or 2 or whatever, 4.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just wear and tear, you know. And like I said, we gave everyone, all the adopt-a-room groups, a notebook like this with a wish list, like this, with a wish list of everything needed for that room, down to the trash cans, the mirrors, the lamps, the sheets, bedding.
But you said do what you can.
Right.
Here are the minimum requirements, but do what you can. But everyone went above and beyond. And then just like in this living room, I know you said Missy Ballantyne's group had helped. Sandy Parker and others did the writings on the wall, or did the art on the wall. And I know that they would say, oh, wait, we need something right there. Let's go back and find another chair or another
that's right.
table.
Or this lamp's
Exactly.
not right. We need this. Or-
Exactly.
and
We
the
had
talent.
other furniture in this room, and
Well, now
It was as if they were decorating their own.
Well, of course.
children's
and then
rooms and homes.
How much competition was there between all these groups?
Well, they would start looking at each other, and go, oh, look at that. And then they'd go out and get a few more things.
I'm sure retail sales in the community went up.
Yes, it was good for the
little
community.
healthy competition. Of course, we loved it.
Right. Love it.
But I will say that every single room, every single thing on every list
Was
supplied
fulfilled.
and more.
Yeah, and more,
And
always.
more. And like
One of
Connie Flanagan said one day, because it would be just a fury of 3 days when the girls were in school, and they could come in between 9 and 2 to work on their rooms for 3 days. And there was just so much commotion and people coming in and out, everybody going to each other's rooms to see and hanging curtains and placing pillows. And Connie Flanagan said this to me, I always remember it. She said, she came up to me and she said, I've never seen so much love in one place at one time in my life.
That is true.
And I thought that's just a great way to put it.
And one of the Methodist Church Sunday School groups was doing one of the parent rooms, and we walked back there, and all of a sudden I smelled all this paint. I thought, what are they doing? They had paint cloths out. They had sanded all the furniture, and were repainting it with these new fresh colors.
Oh my gosh!
Carol Sprayberry was on the floor, and they spent just days out here repainting everything, and it just was beautiful. I was like, oh my gosh! In fact, she was so good. I have a design. I hired her to start doing stuff for me.
That's a great. Wow! Look how these things turn, Val.
Yes,
when you least expect it.
I know, she's so talented. But anyway, it was just an awesome experience.
Well, I know once again the generosity of the community never ever ceases to amaze me with this and other things that
Exactly.
And we have such a giving community, and they never stop. And when we think about what we're changing in the lives of these children, just like the young college young woman that wants to come back, nothing else can say anything better about the experience.
And she's in college and wants to be in the military one day, and
it's changed her life.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
they all leave here with something.
Yes.
Something really wonderful.
Well, thank you for what you do, and we want to thank the community, too, for everything that they've done. Angel's House is a miracle for these young ladies who have had a less than fortunate home experience. So stay tuned. We'll have a lot more about Angel's House when we come back. It takes a lot to run a household, and it takes even more to run a household of 8 foster children. With me right now is Angela and Eric, known to the children as Mr. and Ms. V, that they're the house parents. Angela, how long have you all been house parents here?
We've been here at Angel's House, I think, for 6 years, and we've been working with the children's home in this type of ministry for 10.
I can't imagine what it's like, the rewards and the challenges. Eric, what's a typical day like?
Oh, this your typical day at a home, we wake up in the morning, get them ready for school, get breakfast going, lunch. And so it's just basically your typical day that you would at any average home.
And then we were talking earlier, Angela, because all the children that come here aren't like what we would find in a regular home where they have regular dental visits and medical visits. So tell us a little bit about what the appointment schedule is like and what you have to deal with.
We have a lot of appointments that we have to go to. The average kid typically will end up having a dental treatment plan, so we end up having several dental appointments to take them to.
With multiple cavities.
Typically, we do have quite a few cavities that have to be done, and sometimes some root canals. And then also, if there's a referral for orthodontic work, we also follow through with that. So we do a lot of running around and a lot of sitting and waiting. And we also make sure that they get their annual physicals, they're up on their shots. And every kid, of course, has court appointments, and so we make sure they get to court, and we make sure we're there and support them during that process. It's a very anxious process for them. So we do a lot of, typical mom and dad running around, but just a lot more running
Exactly,
around.
a lot more, because now, do you have any sibling groups now, or are they all individual 8 young ladies?
All individual.
Wow. So we were talking with Bambi and Val earlier about the renovation that was done. Eric, tell me what it's been like for the young ladies to go through that and to see the renovation.
It was amazing. When we first came back from the mountain vacation that we took them on at a Georgia Baptist program, when they walked in the house, they were blown away. When they came in, and you're talking about just the paint has been done at this point. No furniture, no makeup. And they were running from room to room. You got to come look at my room. Let's come over here. And they absolutely were overwhelmed. It was. There was lots of tears on that, and that's just a painted room. So it was pretty amazing.
I think what speaks so highly here is the gratitude and the appreciation that these young ladies have. And I'm sure that it's a lot because of what you all have taught them, because it's a Christian-based organization.
Yes, ma'am.
You have your prayer with them, you have your Bible study, you take them to church, you have the things on the mirrors that we saw as we toured the rooms. And that means a lot to them, and they learn, because in most of the homes that they've come from, that probably wasn't the case. Do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, it's just those little things like a writing on a mirror that takes, 2 minutes to do, that lets them know that you care. When they walk in from school, we're always out there meeting them when they get off the bus, just greeting them. Hey, how was your day? We're interested in their schoolwork, what their grades were. How'd you do on that test today? Little things like that truly show them that we care.
Tell me what it's like in the afternoon when the young ladies come home. They get off the school bus from a couple of the middle school or from the middle school and high school here. And tell me, Angela, what it's like, what their schedule and routine is like after school.
Well, they come in from school, and the first thing we have them do is just go to their room and like freshen up. If they want to put on, comfortable clothes or, put their books down, or just to give them like about 10 minutes to just kind of decompress a little bit. And then they come out, we'll have a after-school snack for them, they'll eat snack, and then after that, they'll have study time or tutoring. We have tutoring 3 days a week, so the tutors will come in, meet them after their snack, they'll go through tutoring, and on the days that they have study hour, then they'll just work through their study time. We, just like any other normal parent, we help them with their homework. And help them look up projects, help them with their projects.
I can't imagine, because as you know, my daughter and her husband have 4 foster children, and the projects alone with 4 can be overwhelming. And they tend, like most children, don't tell them until the night before the project is due.
Absolutely. I've got a project, I need a poster board.
And so here we go to Target and Walmart to get the supplies, right?
Absolutely.
And we are blessed. We do have plenty of school supplies here and available to the kids, and that we are very blessed to be able to pull that out for them, because there are a lot of projects and a lot of that sort of stuff that the girls have to work on.
I know there are guidelines, Eric, from the state about having things locked up. Explain that.
And it's your average things, like things that I challenge you to go home and look in your medicine cabinet and say anything that says keep out of reach of children has to be separated.
Out of the reach of children.
Absolutely, even though they're not really children in our case. But we have bins that they check out on a nightly basis, that they have their hygiene products, their soaps, their shampoos, and they'll check that out and shower and everything, and then they put it back in the mornings and lock it up in the room and keep it away from them. So it's very tedious.
Wow.
Yes, we go through their rooms every morning after they leave for school,
making sure that everything is
out and up to code.
Having 8 girls.
Right.
I had 2 girls, and their rooms were never, as what I would say, spit shined, and that was probably my fault for not making them do that. But here, they have to make their beds every day, and the fact that they have to put up their curling iron and their curlers and their hair dryer and their makeup, and it goes in their bin and they have to lock it up, that's probably unusual for them. How is it a culture shock for them when you say, well, little Susie, this is what the rules are?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a culture shock to say yes, ma'am, yes, sir, please, and thank you as well.
Right.
And so we spend a lot of time, retraining, relearning those skills, and they're in there. We just have to, help
And
them.
a lot of them probably have never had that.
Absolutely. And so their first 30 days, that's usually the biggest struggle, is getting used to the flow of the home. And after that, then they love it. They thrive under structure.
Yes.
They thrive under discipline. Nobody likes it at first, but they do. They totally turn their lives around. Some of them, it changes their lives.
Oh, I'm sure it is. And they'll take this experience with them forever.
Yes, ma'am.
Forever.
We try to model that for them. Like, some of the girls have not necessarily come from the cleanest environment or the most structured environment. And so knowing that we get mostly teenagers, we realize that in 2 years, 4 years, 1 year, this person is going to be an adult, and they're going to be in the adult world. And so we want to model for them, like, if you have a space that's your space, which is a privilege for a lot of these girls, like, keep it nice, take care of it, take care of what belongs to you so that it will last. And so that, say they move into an apartment, that they will be able to get their deposit back. All things that, knowing that a lot of our girls may leave and be on their own, or leave and be in, you know, a dorm, hopefully, or
Right.
just teaching them things that they may have never learned, you know, that you take care of your things, that you put them away, and just some basic independent living skills.
I think the other thing that I've seen through the years in the foster situation is that a lot of children don't understand respect for each other, respect for other people, respect for their things, respect for the furniture and things around here. Do you see that a lot here? Like when they first come?
Absolutely. When they first come, they're, like I said, the first 30 days is a learning process, and we try to get them into the flow of things, and we try to get them into the flow of life as well. You know, respecting your things, respecting other people's property, and respecting other people's, you know, personal space. And so that is huge. And so what we try to do is we try to just teach them the skills that it takes to be successful in that area.
And I think it's not uncommon for some of our girls to think that showing respect is actually a sign of weakness. Like submitting to an authority shows that I'm weak. And so that it's not, we almost have to completely retrain that respect is actually starts with respecting yourself and then respecting those around you. Because if you don't respect those around you, then you also don't respect yourself. So we teach them that's not a sign of weakness. That's actually a strength.
It
Yes.
is, absolutely. Let's turn the tables a little bit. Let's talk about the grocery buying and the scheduling of meals and planning of meals. Eric, what's that like?
Well, we go shopping just like your average family would go shopping at the grocery store, and we get all the products that we need times 8, and so that's
Wow.
a full cart usually.
Or multiple carts,
yeah.
I would think.
So we do that. We go shopping once a week, just like everyone else would, and we just make sure that we have all the necessary products. And we're so blessed through the community support here in Noonan that it is just overflowing. We get lots of our paper goods and stuff like that donated. Mainly the main things that we buy are perishable things.
Right.
And everything else comes to us through the loving and support of the community.
And then, which one of you are primarily responsible for planning the meals?
I'm the primary meal planner and the primary cook. Mr. V always tells the girls, if I were in charge of that, you would all look like me. So I'm in charge of, we make out a plan, and then the same thing with the other house parents. We plan out a menu, we post the menu, and then we try to make sure it's a balanced meal. So they're getting fruits, vegetables, breads, proteins, they're getting all of that. And that's also something that they are not used to
Exactly.
either. So and then, each evening we do a lot of cooking. We don't go out a lot, although we do have, a couple of places that do donate meals to us during the month. But otherwise, we cook most of our meals at home, and, a full balanced meal. We sit down and eat together like a family. We pray before our meals, and then we talk about the day. Talk about, the highs of your day, the lows of your day, and we just eat together just like a family and teach basic table manners, to be excused from the table and cleaning up after yourself and those sort of things.
Wow. For someone who's not been exposed to the foster system, this is probably all real foreign to them. They're like, what are you talking about? But having been in it now with my daughter and her husband, and then seeing you all for several years now, it's unbelievable the love and the commitment that you all have for these children. You give of your life daily. What's your schedule like, Eric? Tell our viewers, you don't live here all the time.
No, ma'am. Yeah, we work 7 days on, and then we're off for 7 days. Usually when we're here, we pour ourselves out completely. We try to leave nothing in the tank, and that's how we know we've had a successful week, regardless of what may or may not have happened, regardless of what, disciplines we've had to put out or not put out. We try to leave ourselves empty. If we leave here empty and exhausted, we know we've done our part.
But then you refuel when
then
you
we
go back to your home.
Absolutely. We go home, we go to our local church there and just get replenished, refueled, prayed up, so we can come back and do it all over again. And that's mainly, that's our focus, is really, we get the energy and the support that we need through the community on the things that we need, but then we definitely draw on our strengths from the Lord to continue that process here, to stay strengthened to face, because we're taking on the burdens that these girls are carrying as well as our own
Sure
burdens.
you are.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're blessed to have a family and friends and a church that is very supportive of us and our ministry. And our daughters grew up in this ministry with us since they basically were 6 and 7, 7 and 8. And so they grew up knowing what we do, and so, which helps because they understand our ministry. And even though they're now older and in college, they get it. And so that is important for us so that when we go home, they can kind of pour into it. And then sometimes they come here too and pour in the girls as well. And that's a very important piece, is that when we go home, we do have a support system.
I think that's what makes it different, Angel's House different than many other programs, is that we are 100% about the girls and pouring into them, and we make it as normal as we can. You know, with all the regulations that come through from the state, we just try to make it as much like a normal home as possible. You know, mom, dad cook meals, and we're there for them just like we would want them to be there for their kids when they grow up. You know, they might not have had the best example, so we want to show them what this example looks like so they can make a difference in their lives with their kids. And so we don't treat them any different than we've treated our own 2 daughters, and that works. And that works for us.
Sure,
and we
it
found it
does.
to be a very successful system within a group home atmosphere. You just treat them just like you would your own 2.
Well, as we wrap up, I just want to say thank you from the community and from the children. You definitely are making a difference.
Thank you. We love being here.
Yes, to God be the glory.
Amen. Thank you. Angel's House is clearly a blessing to this community. Give from your heart. Since 2004, Angel's House has changed the lives of over 200 young people. Lives that will be changed forever because of the experience that they've had here. The generosity and the donations of everyone in our community is what's made a difference in the lives of these children in crisis. I hope you've enjoyed our special of Angel's House, and open your wallet to give to these foster children whose lives will never be the same because of Angel's House and because of you giving from the heart.